Maybe to start in '85, still in my old partnership with Bangert, Jansen and Schultes, I won the competition for the Museum of Modern Art in Bonn. It was, well, actually it was a whole complex, including the Bundeskunsthalle, but things with the Chancellor Kohl went not so well. So it was Gustav Peichel later in to build the Bundeskunsthalle. But this project really started something what I could understood as architecture for myself. And yes, the crematorium, maybe the thing I'm most fond of. It is really done the way I really wanted. The concept and the work in progress. Maybe a little villa in Cologne now. A very, well, a lofty thing, a nice little thing. The first little project I had in all my life. When I started the old partnership in '72, it was from the start, it was really a big project, one after one. I think it was in Manhattan, called me an archaic modernist. It's, I think, mostly because of the crematorium. It starts from Imhotep in Saqqara, 5,000 years ago. There was a man who invented architecture. That means building in stone. The crematory refers much to that. It really went 5,000 years back, and then it came out 5,000 years new. We completely forgot about the brief and the program. We did something absolutely on our own, tearing away the old stuff that should be renovated, and the jury went for that. You will never, you can dream about that 100 years. It will never happen again in the city. Here in Berlin we built something like the Chancellery, but not from the city side, but from an international competition, and then with the federal government. We had such a nice commission entry for the Reichstag. What Lord Norman did then, with a nice cupola he never wanted, but not so nice a plenum. The model is down there. Still, that was our that was meant to do by us when it comes to our architectural belief, and not the Chancellery. And it comes just the other way around. We won at the same time that the Reichstag competition was decided. We won the overall urban design competition, and you can't win both. And so, well, we are absolutely, it was a miracle. We are absolutely happy that at least we could build one of these edifices there. We have to win a second international competition for the Chancellery. Maybe we have something to do here and there. Now we're working on the Galileo project in Munich, or a little place near Munich, for the satellite system. It's a nice commission, sure. And we did now for some projects in Beirut, but it's really difficult to get them on the go. At least one is that's most probably to go on there, really a bank, and on the most important place in Beirut, along the Green Line, where all this fight was going on. And coming to choose Archicad was, then yes, we make a little market survey, and we ask some other architects. Well, we admire their work either or know them quite well, and it was, I think it was Oswald Matthias Ungers, mostly, some else, and they said, well, we are working on Archicad, and well, and then we decided, and Charlotte is very sensitive on graphics, and that's why we choose Macintosh. I get blind when I see a PC surface. Wow. And that was something that Charlotte decided mostly. Said, well, okay, with this thing I can work, and I like to work. My partner Charlotte is absolutely fond of, and all my colleagues down there, they are used to it now for maybe 15 years or more. And we never think about something else, as we never think about switching from Apple to PC. It is Apple and Archicad for us. So,
good.
Of course, if you can do in one program, you can. It's much easier than to go into another, than to learn it from the start. When it comes to architecture, and all through the ages, it is never upon style, as it is handled so often nowadays. I think it is all about space, and when things go well, it is suggestive space that really moves you. And this is maybe the most advantage thing in architecture, that it goes not only to the literate, not only to the people who knows already, but it goes to the naive as well. Space and, well, Louis Kahn said silence and light, it goes immediately into your soul. You can hear, you can smell, you can see, and you can only achieve it not by means of a beautiful facade. It has to be the space, normally inside. Or when you walk a city, it's in a way inside too, in another dimension. And this very sturdy belief in space as the most quintessential thing in architecture, this is really something that must rely on the contrast of, say, materials, the contrast of the heaviness of piled up earth, like concrete nowadays, and the most delightful, the most light coming out, the sun. And if these things can marry together, then there could be something like architecture. And I think it has to do then with something that has to last forever. And that's why I'm so pessimistic, as I told you. I'm so pessimistic that things nowadays are just are telling all the story about design. Design is something could be beautiful, could be like a Maserati quattroporte, but when it comes to building and to build something that has to be torn away 20 years later, because it is all about investment, it's all about making profit, making money, then I think there is not a chance for this marriage. No, there is no change I could think of or prescribe, not at all. No, things will happen that way, and that's why I called myself a romantic pessimist. I will fight for myself, and I will fight for my projects if I get one, some. But there is no way to get out of this overall rule of money, and it will be getting worse and worse and worse. Money goes the most secure way, and I don't take a risk for young ones. It can never be done only with work. It may be so gifted as you will. You have to care for a name then, as it was never before. When you have passion and when you have persistence and when you believe that you can be absolutely stubborn on this way, then of course you will ever have a chance, of course. When I decided to study architecture, to get an architect, to become an architect, but then I take a long visit to Greece, and I was absolutely disappointed with architecture there. Everyone said, "Oh, Greek architecture, the classic way. Look at that. Look at the Parthenon, maybe." I was so disappointed with this. Well, pretty perfect, well done detailing, well done architecture as a sculpture, but it was nothing more. And I have this dream from the very first start that it must something that is not going into well-educated eyes, from kind of proportion or finely chiseled things, but I've always said it must get into my soul, into my heart, immediately. That's what I want about architecture. But I was lucky then. I went with a friend, and I was 18, I think, and we get into the Hagia Sophia. And that was it. It was this first visit, and never more. I insist heavily that architecture is not art. Absolutely not. It's architecture. It's absolutely something different, and it's never free, in a way. But it always has this balancing between freedom and necessity. And if it is not both, then I can't believe in it. And in this way, when you have all the freedom of the machine, because the machine is doing, and of course the machine couldn't produce from its own will. But what I meant with a hint, yeah, let's try and let's Bob Dylan was
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan, yes, and I don't know what song it was. I know my song well before I start singing.